Yes, I now recognize the gentleman from California, Mr. Sherman, the ranking member, for 5 minutes for questioning.
I would say, what signal does it send when Congress comes within days of defunding the SEC or suspending its funding again and again? You know, perhaps the worst slogan I've heard in politics is defund the police. The SEC is the police of our $100 trillion capital markets. And several different times, we've come within days of not having the cops on the beat. I join with the chair in saying that we should have the entire commission here, and I look forward to those hearings. I think the ratings on C-SPAN 3 will go through the roof, to the moon. There's this argument that we're moving too fast. I think we're just catching up with mandates that we imposed in 2010. And with climate disclosure, we've been wanting that since Al Gore was living in the Naval Observatory. Finally, we've got it, and I think the SEC did a good job at a very difficult job. This does not mean that the SEC is perfect. First, we haven't forced disclosures from giant non-public companies that play such a critical role in our country. Looking at what the SEC has jurisdiction of, the definition of accredited investor relates to whether you have a $200,000 income, when it should relate to the knowledge of your truly independent investors, and the percentage of your net worth that you're investing in the company. The SEC's proposals on swing pricing and the related liquidity proposals, I think will do more harm than good, but particularly the swing pricing proposals. We do need regulations. The crypto industry has come to us many times saying, please tell us what the rules are. Of course, whatever rules are meaningful, they then rebel against them. And it's said that our capital markets are great, and they are the envy of the world, but that doesn't mean we shouldn't be looking more to cut costs. One of the bills that witness pointed out too, it deals with the PCAOB. We need a PCAOB. We were here when we had WorldCom and Enron, but and I don't think the PCAOB is broken, but I'd be supportive of that bill, bringing that inside the SEC, if we did it also with the FASB, which is broken in one critical respect, and that is that flying in the face of any reasonable accounting theory, they have mandated writing off R&D expenses when they should be capitalized. And if they were, our companies, particularly the non-tech companies, would be doing far more R&D. So if the PCAOB structure is bad, it's also the same structure basically as the FASB. And if we want to bring them in-house, let's bring in-house the one that's broken, or is broken as to one major aspect. As to insufficient comment periods, I'd support legislation saying 60 days for any complex rule, but the 60 days have got to be measured from when the SEC puts it on their webpage. Ms. Thornton, there are those who say that if you want to make an investment based on something other than earnings per share, say on the basis of whether the company is doing a good job in reducing its climate footprint, that you should be deprived of the right to manage your own money, not by appointing a conservator, which we do for those who are criminally insane, but rather just deprive you of the information that would allow you to make a decision. Does it make sense in a capitalist society to tell people with capital that they can't make a decision based on climate?
Not at all. In fact, capitalism is about information. Information is what makes capitalism work. And there are many kinds of information that have an impact on the value of a company and would impact an investor's decision about whether to invest. Things like climate risk, because that can actually determine whether a company is resilient in the long run, whether it's prepared for changes in the law around emissions, for example, but also in the near term, whether it's ready for disasters that are obviously coming. We have more and more billion-dollar clients.
If I can interrupt, I think investors are interested in how the company affects the environment, but also how the environment is going to affect the profitability of the company. That information needs to be disclosed, and we also need more information about workforce, particularly training and turnover, and I yield back.